Will you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Cook,
Present.
Mr. D'Andriano.
Here.
Mr. Rogan.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here. Somebody like to audit some bills?
I make a motion to town board approve abstract number 13 dated July 14th, 2023. In the amount of $351,806.08. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
There are no budget transfers, so Charlie, you're ready to go.
It's okay by you. First, we have a conference request from our assessor, the football, going to the state pool conference for assessors, held in beautiful downtown Saratoga Springs, and it's an ongoing educational program. It's great that our people want to do this. There's a possibility after this that the state will come out with some form of reimbursement for people going to this conference. It's happened before. We have to wait and see. So I'll make a motion that the town board approve the conference request form from our assessor in an amount not to exceed $1,525. So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Next, we have a request from our Historical Society and the History Group to use the town parking lot. Where a bus will be stationed, take people on a tour of the historical houses in Patterson and other parts of Putnam. And the people who are going to go on this tour sign up and be able to park their cars there, and then this bus will be there, which will take people, load up and drop off later on. Let me miss a date here.
September 10th?
I'm sorry,
September 10th, is it?
September 10th, 2023. So I'll make a motion, the town board approve this request to allow the Historical Society to coordinate this activity in our town parking lot on September 10th. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
John?
All set, Charles?
Yeah.
Okay, next item we have relates to the proposed improvements that the town has been considering to extend the Dorset Hollow Water District. In working with our contract engineer, Insight Engineering, the requirements are to test the wells for yield to be able to show that we can sustain the proposed expansion. We got a series of bids, and the low bidder in this case was Boyd Artesian Well Company. So I have a resolution for the acceptance of the bid for the Dorset Hollow Water District well yield testing. It's a 24-hour pump test that's done on the wells, and I'll make a motion. The amount is the low bid is $13,100. We received several bids from other reputable companies as well. This was the low bid. So I'll make a motion. We introduce the resolution for the acceptance of the bid to Boyd Artesian Well Company and ask that the resolution be entered into the record as though read. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is interesting. The town received a letter from a homeowner on Stagecoach Road in the town of Patterson. Essentially, at the end of Stagecoach Road, there is a house that is used seasonally or not full-time. And they have a number of safety concerns that have been brought up over the years with people going to the end of the road, knowing that it's a house that's not occupied permanently, having concerns with break-ins, with kids hanging out in front of the house off hours and making all kinds of problems. And they have specifically requested that the town consider whether or not we would abandon the section of Stagecoach Road, which only serves their house. So if the town were to consider the abandonment, it would make that a private drive. They would then be responsible for maintenance. We had asked our acting highway administrator, Ed Foster Jr., for a opinion and response on this. He gave his opinion in writing to the board and essentially favors the abandonment. It's less work for the town. I believe the property owner would be looking at then putting some kind of a gate to stop the access further down the road. So we would need to talk to Miss Jamie here about the procedures for abandoning that section. And I believe the supervisor said that he's not sure that the section even further down has ever been formally abandoned. So we probably did a little bit of research.
Yeah, so many years ago, the highway superintendent apparently stopped maintaining a large section of Stagecoach that was very steep and treacherous, which is why we have Stagecoach Lane down at the very bottom of this road. It says Stagecoach Road. It's actually blocked off. And then right at this gentleman's driveway, there's not much of a turnaround, but it's also blocked off, so you can't go down the hill. My assumption always was that the town at some point abandoned the road, but if they had abandoned it, then it would have been divided equally between the adjacent property owners and really not be shown on the tax maps, which it still is. I asked the town clerk to go back through the records. She could find no record of the town actually abandoning that section of Stagecoach Road. So I assume that is still technically an open road unless there's a way in highway law, my concern, to, to essentially close off a section of road, but not abandon it.
Yeah, my recollection in the highway law is that there is an abandonment procedure, essentially for roads that are unused or unopened. But I can't recall off the top of my head if there is any public hearing or requirement of that nature in order to do the abandonment. I don't believe that there is,
I think
but
there is.
you do think there is?
Yeah.
I'd have to look back on it. But I will get you an answer quickly because I know exactly where it is in the law. My concern would be how much traffic that other area of the road is getting, if any.
None.
No, it's
None.
blocked off.
It's woods.
Okay,
Yeah, it's completely wooded. at
So
this
I
point.
I
Probably
believe the
not in
time
use for
frame
20 or
is,
30 years.
yeah, and I believe the time frame is only 6 years that they look back on the use of that area. So then it shouldn't be applicable to this situation. It should be a pretty straightforward, but I'll just have to confirm whether or not we need a public hearing on that.
And I think to Rich's point is this is the opportune time to do it properly. If we're going to do one section, let's do the whole thing at once. And
For everyone's sake,
Yeah.
for anyone who's purchasing for title purposes in the future,
Yeah.
Clean it up.
sure.
Mhm.
And the only other property owners really that abut this section we're talking about abandoning are state lands or county lands.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, so it doesn't impact them in any way either.
Yeah.
But in our practice of law, the amount of times that we see roads that haven't formally been abandoned that cause people issue down the road because whether or not someone wants to subdivide and they think that it's an open road or things like that. So it's always better to clean these type of situations up
Okay.
when you determine, that they exist. So if there hasn't been a formal abandonment, then we should do all the area and get it all cleaned up at once.
Okay.
Do we have any police reports or complaints, formal complaints? Back that up.
I'm not aware of any, kind of taking the gentleman's word for it that he's had break-ins over the years and it's been a family property for a couple of generations since his grandfather owned the place originally in the 20s. So this is a property that, he says, thankfully, nobody's been hurt, but there have been some nuisance break-ins over the years because people can drive down there and they know when no one's in the house. They can see that there's no activity. So,
It is a good suggestion, though, if the gentleman hasn't been referring the matter to the sheriff's office to at least make them aware of it, because I saw in the note some comment about besides the break-in, just drinking going on in the area and
Yeah.
signs of people hanging out that maybe should not be there. So maybe just, reminding the gentleman that maybe he wants to alert the sheriff of what he's seen so that they can have more of a presence.
Good suggestion.
Good point. Okay. Next item we have, a meeting ago, we had read a resignation from our planning board chairman, and tonight we had the ability to interview two highly qualified candidates that were interested in the open planning board seat. I have a resolution and this is for completing the existing 5-year term, which would end on December 31st, 2024, so next December, and then would be subject to reappointment by the town board at that time. So I have a resolution which would appoint Adam Stiebling as member of the planning board for the unexpired term of Kevin Butler, which expires, as I said, December 31st, 2024, and until his or her successor is duly appointed and qualified. I'd like to introduce this resolution and ask that it be entered into the record as though read. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
All right. For some time now, ambulance has been providing ALS service in the county. They recently ceased to function, and the county had put out for an RFP for a new ALS service. They actually went into contract, I believe a 3-year contract with Empress Emergency Medical Services to provide ALS intercept services within the county. We have been working with the past ALS service providers for the county in a billing arrangement, which is mutually beneficial for all of us. We've been paying, I believe, $200 for an ALS intercept. With this latest change, Empress has sent us a contract. They are looking for at least the remainder of this year for $300, flat rate of $298 for each ALS intercept. And going into 2024, it would go up to $400 for each ALS intercept. We weren't part of the county contract. We weren't negotiated. We weren't discussed. Nothing was discussed with us about this ALS contract. I bring it to the board's attention because it is beneficial for us to work together with the county ALS provider, but and certainly if the board feels appropriate, we can go into contract with them. But my recommendation to the board is we not move forward on this. I don't know why we would want to do so. Bobby, do you want to talk about any of this while you're here, being as you are here?
So I have some of the numbers of what we what we've done in the last year. So 10% of our calls are for Medicaid patients. And with that, we received $46 more over BLS for ALS. When we get paid from, not even all of our calls we get paid. We get paid 77% of the time on those calls. 58% of the calls were for Medicare, which is more than half, and we received $93.27 more for ALS, and we got paid 91% of the time. So right there, we're up to 68% of our calls are Medicare and Medicaid. 29% of our calls are for private insurance, and when we do receive money, which is only 56% of the time, if it's either they don't have insurance or whether it's private insurance, we may receive up to $700 more for the ALS. 3% of the time they have no insurance, and we only get about $15 on those 3% of the time. When you look at those numbers, for us to pay out $400 on every call, we'd be losing money on almost all of our calls. We also have to pay our biller a percentage of what we bring in, so these numbers actually go down even more. So, Empress is a for-profit company. They can simply hand us the bill at the end of the month, and they just want what they come aboard our ambulance, and they want the full rate, which is more than we're getting even for the call itself. When we had done the numbers before, if you use these numbers, the 200 that we were paying is even not that is somewhere more than what we're actually bringing in, overall most of the time. But it was almost a break even, we weren't making money, we weren't losing money, maybe a little bit. It was fair. I've checked around various similar agencies and found the prices are somewhere in the neighborhood of the low 200s as well. Every place I've checked, that would be the fair market. I don't know, we have tried to negotiate. It did at least come back from 400 straight. They wanted 400 and then an automatic 4% increase every year thereafter, automatically. They have come back with the 298 for the rest of the year and then 400 thereafter. And then I guess still the 4% increases thereafter. I believe that, we should negotiate down to a much more realistic number without the increased burden on the budget and tax bills. It would be a significant, it's basically doubling what we already pay now, which the budget's already done for the year, so that would be a huge hit on the budget this year. And next year would be a significant tax increase. My feeling is that this was put in place and now the town is sort of now has to make up the difference. It's up to the town board and supervisor how you want to proceed, but I think at the very least, we need to negotiate more and see where it goes.
So a couple of the numbers that Bobby didn't give you, in 2021, our average across the board, we were collecting $171 for an ALS intercept. And in 2022, we were receiving $155 for an ALS intercept. My recommendation to the board is, and I'm more than willing to work cooperatively with the new ALS agency, but I'm not willing to subsidize their operation, and I'm not willing to make a bad deal better for them. I'll be happy, my opinion, to pay them whatever we make for an ALS intercept minus a 15% administrative fee, because not only do we have to pay for the the billing service that we have, but we have Bobby and Jen and Trish and some others working on things as well. So,
Well, let me ask this. Until you come up with some agreement with Empress, who's going to respond to the ALS call?
they're under contract with the county to provide ALS service. I think they're gonna have to provide that service. Where we're going to run into a problem is when, we are no longer working cooperatively in the billing aspect of this. What's gonna happen is the transport agency, being the town of Patterson, is going to be able to bill. And Empress then will be forced to bill the individual separately.
So only insurance will only pay the transporting agency, so we can bill. There's a question whether Empress can bill the patient themselves, but insurance won't pay that bill. So that's where it gets into some law stuff, whether they're even allowed to bill. But if they are, then will the patient be directly responsible? If insurance is going to pay for it, I'm not sure how any of this is going to play out.
I'm just concerned.
We also can't bill, so we've had to hold off on billing since July 16th when they took over, because we don't have a contract. We've had to hold off on billing any of those calls that have gone ALS. They're being held right now in hope that we could come to some agreement until such time. But I can't hold these bills for more than really next week. I'm going to have to release them, and we're just going to have to bill them as BLS, which means even if we come to an agreement, we won't have that money, that extra money for, on top of that for ALS, because we won't be able to bill it. And you can't go back and rebill it for ALS. So it's sort of under the gun. I'm not sure where, Empress has not really reached out, I don't believe, any further, for any further negotiations or discussion.
No, they haven't reached out for negotiations at all.
So,
Well, they have the contract with the county, right?
They have a contract with the county.
So they're gonna bill according to the contract with the county. To provide this service. I'm just concerned that in trying to separately negotiate with Empress, you're gonna have some uphill battle. With regard to the billing. Which is disgusting to me, is that we should just be concerned about the patient and.
so I'm not sure exactly. I believe the supervisor requested the contract itself to see what exactly it is. I believe what it had said in it is that Empress, the winning bidder of the contract, would get, their fee that they proposed. And then they needed to go out and make arrangements with each of the EMS agencies to have a separate contract to allow us to bill for ALS and then reimburse them. I don't believe it has any specific number. It doesn't say anything of, it just says that they need to go out and have a contract with each agency to allow us to bill.
Are you confident, Bobby, that until this is resolved between the town and the Empress, that they're going to respond to the calls, the necessary calls in the town of Patterson?
I am pretty confident, but I believe they have a contract with the county to provide ALS. That all comes down to, I guess, some legalese. I think it would be, so as a county taxpayer, we are all paying for this ALS contract, so I don't believe it says that the towns, I'm not sure the clauses that they can have in there that says that, they won't respond to us if we don't have the contract. I believe that's something that we'd have to see within the contract and read it. And, the problem is, is this contract negotiated basically on behalf of the town without the town having any input? What happens if Empress had come back and said they wanted $800 or $1,000? There is no set number and there's no set limit, and so it would be what's reasonable. I think myself and the supervisor have talked. We're not trying to make money on the ALS. We'll give them exactly what we get. We're not. I think that's only fair. I mean, what we get above and beyond BLS for ALS, we'll be more than willing to give them. And I think the $200 flat would have actually been beneficial to them. If we do it literally number by number, I think it's actually gonna be even lower. And we may not get, a lot of our bills, we don't get paid for 6 months or longer from insurance companies, but yet we pay it out directly every month to them with, no charge for us doing all the billing, all the legwork. They just hand us an email with an invoice and say, here's what we did, just pay it. That's a pretty easy and good, way to do business, I think. And again, they're a for-profit company, so.
And so you're all aware, if we were to sign the contract for the $400, it's probably going to impact our budget by about $150,000 a year. At that rate, it may make more sense, and Bobby and I have had this conversation talking about, we're looking into what it would cost us to go ALS.
So if we were to change one of the EMTs and become a paramedic, the upcharge in the salary and all the other issues, Social Security goes up a little, it's just an increase in salary. That as well as just the equipment. The equipment is probably going to be the biggest hit the first year. we're looking into all those numbers. Some of the equipment, we're looking at leasing it over, 3, 5, 7 years, which would spread it out. If the numbers come back either equal to or less than what they're looking for, then, I'd have to recommend we go that way, because first, every one of our calls would get an ALS. We then could bill for any borderline calls. If the medics aboard the ambulance go to the hospital anyway, they would always be there to make that judgment, rather than right now where there's a medic who's better off covering 4 or 5 towns, and you don't really want to hold them up if it's that judgment call. But if he's going, we're definitely going to give the best service. So I guess we're working on the numbers, trying to make sure everything jives. I'm really hoping that at the end of the day that they come back to, the number that we had been paying, and we can just move forward from there. But I'm just not sure.
You think you and Bobby can give us an update next meeting?
Hopefully, the principals with Empress are gonna reach out to me and or Bobby and, have a discussion. Again, the discussion so far has been, here's the contract.
It's just not us in this boat. I'm only aware of one agency that is considered signing. All the other county agencies have not signed. I believe they're all going to send in all these issues, and they're sitting down with their lawyers and the town supervisors, et cetera, because of the impact it will be on all their budgets as well. So it's a significant hit. There's a lot of other issues going on within that are nuances for the fire departments, but just for us, it's just the budgetary.
What's the board want to do? Pete?
I'm in favor of holding off till we can get a better deal. I think 400 is ridiculous. I think 200 is fair, especially like Bobby said, we do all the legwork, we do the billing. I think that's outrageous to double it and then increase it every year, right? Would you say?
4% every year.
4%.
Well, so they're willing to do 300 this year, essentially 298. Come January 1st, it automatically goes to 400, and then after that, it's 4% every year.
Yeah, I'm good with holding off and negotiating at least down to 200.
Okay, so,
Agree.
okay,
Do you have the county contract?
I do not yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting to find out it's not available for release.
Okay, we'll do what I can in my office to see if we can get a contract copy of it too.
Okay. All right. Next on my agenda is the high hazard dam rehabilitation grant. I've got a grant application prepared, ready to go. Everybody has a resolution in their packet. I need to make one modification to the resolution. I finally got Rennie Engineering's estimate for the service. I had wagged a number of 39,000. Rennie came in at 39,500. So with that modification, I'd like to introduce this resolution to authorize the town supervisor to submit a grant application for $39,500 for dam rehabilitation of the Putnam Lake Dam. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and the last item on my agenda is an executive session. I was deferred to the end of the meeting.
All hands on Mary's here. First, we have a request from Matt Chabarro, our Director of Recreation and Parks, to rehire Averill County. And the memo is self-explanatory, and is recommending the rates would be for Averill as a junior guard, $13.60 an hour. If she becomes the head guard, was $15.30 per hour, effective 7/12/23. So Not any objection, I'll make a motion to town board. Approve this lifeguard rehire. As described in Matt's letter for Averill Downey, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a memo from, again, from Matt with regard to additional NeoGov online training courses, which he lists a whole group of courses that he thinks would be appropriate for his staff. There's 13 courses, and he feels that they could be taken within a 5-hour time frame, and that the folks who do take it be reimbursed for those hours. So there's a whole litany here, everything from injury prevention, day camp supervision, before and after school programs, child sexual abuse camp, bullying prevention camp, etc. I think it's a good idea. Anybody has any comments? If you don't, I'll make a motion that the town board approve the rec department staff taking these training courses and be compensated for the 5 hours it takes for these classes. So
Would this be for next year or immediately? Or-
I get the feeling this is now. Starting now.
Starting now, it is.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have a request from a recreation employee. Maria Torres, affectionately known as Maya. That she will be resigning for retirement purposes as of August 31st, 2023. And would like approval then to get reinstated for the town at her work as the clerk in the rec department effective September 5th, 2023. Meyer is a very good employee, and this is a benefit that she can take advantage of, like lots of people. So I will make, if anybody has any problems, I will make the motion to
Two motions.
two motions.
One to accept and one to reinstate.
One to accept Meyer's retirement date of August 31st, 2023, and a reinstatement date to her current position and salary effective September 5th, 2023. So moved.
And second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Sean abstained. I mean, did you get that? Sean abstained. There is a benefit to the town for her doing this.
Yes.
Takes her out of the retirement system, so we don't have to pay for her anymore. All right, where did it be?
Okay, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
All right, listen, I'll move this. So we have an issue down at the wastewater treatment plant. There are some plastic tanks in a proprietary unit that filters the wastewater down at the wastewater treatment system. The unit is manufactured by Paul. We've already replaced one of the tanks, I believe, of the 3 or 4. But our operator is recommending we replace the additional 2 tanks. One of them is failing, it's leaking currently, so we do need to replace that regardless. We have an estimate from Paul to replace the 2 tanks. The amount of $39,745.28, with travel expenses of $2,320. So I'd like to move the estimate for Paul to replace the 2 tanks at the wastewater treatment plant. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Peter.
All right, first up, I have request from our EMS administrator. Requesting that Mrs. Gabriella Jacobson have her employment change from temporary to permanent status, with the town of Patterson EMS. She's met civil service requirements and is now currently on the civil service list. So I make a motion to approve Gabriella Jacobson as permanent status as an EMT with the town of Patterson EMS. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we do have a resolution on that, like to enter the resolution as read. So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, I have a resignation from an EMT. So we have a full time, we just promoted one to permanent. Now we are losing one. Simon Oram, who is moving with his family out of the area. So he's resigning effective July 28th. So I will make a motion to accept Simon Oram's resignation. So second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I have an invoice from Military Tribute Banners, an invoice for $669. I do not have a memo or any information on this. So is this for current brackets, replacement brackets, or for new?
So this is new brackets.
New
This
brackets.
is, yeah, it says invoice. It's actually a proposal. We have more banners coming in and we don't have sufficient number of brackets currently to get them up.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve $669 to purchase the brackets, which includes all hardware to hang the new banners. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. That is all I have.
All right, other business. I have a couple of things. First, we need to reschedule the public hearing for ban properties and the variance. I'd like to make a motion to reschedule that public hearing to August 23rd. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The second thing I have, I believe you all have this resolution. Westchester Land Trust contacted me yesterday. They are looking to put in a grant application with the Office of Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation, seeking funding. They've recently purchased the Little Pond site, about 150 acres. Along with the pond, there were a number of small antiquated cabins up there, which they are looking to remove, and they're looking to get some state funding to do that. So I'd like to move this resolution supporting the Westchester Land Trust grant application under Title IX of the Environmental Protection Act. And ask that it be entered into the record as read. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I have a quick question on this, not specific to this property, but sometimes Westchester Land Trust gets involved initially, and then they transfer the land to Putnam County Land Trust. Do you have any idea how that?
They're not going to transfer it to the Putnam County Land Trust. Sometimes they do partner with the Putnam County Land Trust. In this case, they are seeking to transfer the land to the Department of Environmental Conservation. As part of that whole block of open space they have over there, which extends from Cranberry Mountains all the way through Brimstone Road. All right, we have a couple of announcements. All right, we have a new date for the road work that's going to be done on Warren Drive, Sharon Drive, Wallace Place, Kenton Road. It is now going to be performed by the Patterson Highway Department and our contractor, August 1st to August 4th. Paving will start at approximately 7 a.m. and go to 6 p.m. Any vehicles on the road will be removed by towing. And there may be delays on the road, so our residents in the Putnam Lake area should be aware of that. Oh, also Newport Road and Knox Road. Got those two. Got to do the curving on Knox Road. And we will be posting this up and pushing it out. That came in late today. You got one?
Oh, the color one. So this weekend coming up is the Putnam County Country Fest, the 4-H Showcase Country Fest 2023, July 29th through July 30th. That's this Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. I understand that they've moved the car show to Sunday due to the fact that I guess Sunday is going to be the better weather day of the two, but come on out and see the great activities at the Putnam County Country Fest 2023 this weekend. So great event.
All right, so what are the benefits to our cyclical reassessment that we do every year? Is we get state aid for doing it, and this year we've been notified that we have received $5 per parcel, which equates to a check being forwarded from the Office of State Controller for the town for our assessment program in the amount of $15,671.31. So while it's not always a pleasant thing every year to get your new assessment notice, understand that there are some very good reasons that we do it, trying to keep everybody's assessment equal, but also we get funding from the state for doing that. So that is,
Congratulations to our assessor department for the hard work put into getting this.
all right. Anyone else? Any other business?
So I did check, and we do need to have a public hearing since the road was opened at some point in time. So I want to let you know in case you wanted to schedule that tonight for Stagecoach.
I think we should put that on for the next agenda because there's some other things that we're gonna do as far as that abandonment certificates that need to be prepared, and we need to have a description.
Yes, you do need a description.
Yeah, so we can work on that, you and I, between now and then.
Sounds good.
Public recognitions. Any member of the public here wish to be recognized? Hearing none, we'll turn to our members joining us by Zoom. If any member if any member of the public joining us by Zoom wishes to make any comments or ask any questions, if you would unmute and state your name for the record. All right, hearing none, I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
Paul, you're up.